Hello, governors.
Hello.
Hello, governors and non-governors.
Wait, I didn't get to tell you.
Oh, no.
I'm already going.
Is this
off
about
the deep
voting?
end. No. Why would it be about voting?
I don't know, governors.
Governors?
I don't know.
That was like a couple weeks ago we voted.
I don't know what day it is.
It feels like November has like shot by.
Yeah, what was November? I don't even know. What were you gonna say?
Fake month.
Governor.
I feel like I'm starting with like a cold opening thing already off the bat because I didn't get to finish telling you because my ADHD decided to change to a different conversation.
That's okay.
But when I texted you that I was here,
yeah,
and Benjamin came and got me, I was looking at my phone and I thought it was you.
Oh my gosh.
Even like from up there, like I didn't fully realize it still wasn't him even when he opened the door. And as soon as he opened it, I went, "Hello, governor."
Oh no, he's probably like, what the heck?
And then I like walked up the steps. He was like, "Tiffany's upstairs," and I was like, "Oh, you're not Tiff." It was like,
it took you that long to realize.
It took me that long to realize.
His hair's longer than mine, and also he's not me. He's significantly taller.
Well, it's dark.
He's not
outside.
A woman.
It's dark outside because of daylight savings.
Were you not wearing your glasses?
So, yeah, I'm wearing them right now, though.
You look cute.
I'm being studious.
You're giving studious.
Yeah.
You look cute. Wait, I don't know. This is so off topic. But did you see people like saying for their caption for Thanksgiving, they're gonna say it's giving thanks?
Yes, I think that was a caption last year.
That is, I'm not in the loop, but that's very cute.
It's giving thanks.
It's giving thanks.
Exactly. We are back, everybody.
We're back. We're backing at it.
This is episode 3 of season 7 of the Mystery Files.
The Mystery Files.
I'm Logan LaMaster.
And I'm Tiffany Walker.
And we're the Mystery Files.
The Mystery Files. Gung, gung, gung.
I just wanted to give a quick shout out to everybody because we were talking about this too. We have been doing some numbers lately in our streams. Hey. So thank you guys so much.
Yes, shout out for listening. Thank you guys.
You all really, really liked the All-Stars Halloween special.
Yes, thank you.
You guys ate that up.
They did. Thank you. We appreciate you.
Yeah, no, we appreciate you so much. That was a really fun episode to do, which means we're going to have to do stuff similar to that again.
Yes, we definitely have a couple that still up our sleeves from the old episode, so I'm sure we can.
Oh, yeah.
I have a couple still in my
Google
Docs, my archives.
I'm so scared of what like your Google Drive looks like.
It's horrendous. It's pretty disgusting. The
Don't
amount
have,
of stuff.
Like 5 emails of the store since you ran out. Like, so
guys, I'm the most unorganized person, and then if you look at my emails, like. On one email, there will be about, like, 56,000 emails. So that's why I have so many email addresses, because I can't keep track of that many. All the unreads. It's stressful.
No,
it's stressful being me.
I hate trying to clean out my email and, like, trying to look through all of that stuff. I have not set foot in my Google Drive in a long time.
How many emails do you say? How many do you have? How many emails right now? Unread.
Unread?
Yeah, like, when you open your email, how many does it say, casually?
Like, are we talking, like, the main email that I use most of the time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Whatever one.
I'll use the one from when I was 14.
Okay.
Let's see.
I'm just curious, because all of mine have way too many.
Come on, load it up.
Load it up, governors.
The 1,247.
Only 1,000?
What's yours?
I just said 50,000 something.
Oh.
For one of mine. For one of my emails. It is 50.
Just one singular email.
Yeah, and I have, what did I say, 4 or 5?
Well, I get anxious and I start, like, deleting stuff.
Thing is, I delete mine sometimes.
Sometimes.
But the thing is, I remember I went to a dinner one time and we all were comparing all of our emails, so we were like, how many do you have unread? And I was casually like, 50,000, and they were like, Tiffany.
They're like, seek help.
Seek help. I need help, clearly. What am I supposed to do with that many emails? I literally can't in my entire lifetime.
That's why I can rely on you for stuff. That's why I think whenever we posted, there was like some lost tape episodes, like from the summer tapes. And you were like, "Oh, I have that.
I have that."
You were like, "I have this in this like back corner of like."
I also have no space. I also have no space. Are we surprised? My Google Photos, my Google Drive, my hard drives, my computer. None of it has space.
Yeah, guys, we were supposed to record this episode you're listening to right now. What was that? Wait, no.
Friday. Thursday?
Thursday, because we were together this week.
Yeah. Today is Tuesday, for the record, of the next week. We were supposed to record this last week on Thursday, I think is what we came down to. And we didn't have any space, and we have issues with technology.
Yeah.
Hence our last episode, probably its quality wasn't Wasn't top tier for the watcher
Yeah.
because I had to use video audio, but
Yeah,
if you notice, that's what was up.
I think I have a disclaimer on the bottom of that episode that literally
Mm-hmm.
says, "Sorry for the background noise. Our microphone audio busted," with an exclamation point.
Well, the thing is, I was so frustrated trying to edit that episode because we did have some normal audio, but the thing was, I was trying to sync it up with the video, and there'd be times where, like, just 10 or 20 seconds would just be missing from the audio. Like, it'd go click, and then it would just be gone. And then it would jut to, like, 20 or 30 seconds after. So, like, there was no way to sync it up because it happened so many times throughout it.
Oh my god,
So,
I can't even imagine like being all fancy with that, especially like now that we're in video and you like sync up like
oh my
this
gosh.
audio to the video audio.
Well, the thing is, it's easy when you have, like, a stream of, like, this is all the same thing. But once it starts messing up, there's literally no way to fix it if it's that many times it goes out of sync because you don't know where it's going out of sync.
Yeah.
You have to go and calculate it. Like, I fixed it, like, 6 times, and then there was still some mess-ups. I'm like, there's no way. I'm not doing this anymore.
It's a wrap.
So that's when I just used the audio from the video. So if that's why it sounds weird, we apologize. But we do hope you enjoyed that episode because it was a lot of fun.
That was a really fun one. People
So.
seem to really like it. Like I said, every time you do a case, people are like, yeah.
Well,
woo.
listen, they're going to love this one. I don't know what it is, but they're going to love it.
I'm gonna call out our listeners for a second also. Hold on. We don't even put in the description of the episode whose episode it is.
Yeah.
Like maybe you guys start to pick up on it, like
the vibe.
You know, we take turns.
Yeah.
Like, you know my episode comes, then the next one you know is gonna be Tiffany's.
They're
So
waiting.
if some of you have been listening to the episode, realizing it's me, and then going, okay, I'm gonna wait till next week because I know it'll be Tiffany.
That's shady.
You guys are rats for that. I don't know if anyone's doing that. That might be my anxiety talking. But
No,
y'all are out here.
I don't think they are.
Skipping episodes of mine.
I hope they're not. Guys, don't. Wink.
It's okay. Wink.
Wink. Don't not
It's
listen.
okay.
No, listen to both.
I've accepted that you're the favorite of the podcast.
I'm not the favorite. You are the comedy, and I'm the silly goose.
Should that be the question of the day for this episode when we post it? Like, who's your favorite?
Stop. That's gonna start a fight. That's what that's gonna do. We're not gonna send favorites. That's like if a parent asks, like, tells their favorite kid.
I have a favorite sibling.
Well, that's different. You're not a parent. Or like a guardian saying, it's my favorite kid.
Well, I feel like if I would... Parents say they don't have a favorite, but they're lying.
But the thing is, if a kid knows that your parent has a favorite, there's gonna be some like, like, I hate
That's
you
true.
type
Tension,
vibes.
kinda
Some tension.
Mm.
I don't want tension.
If I had kids, I'd probably have a favorite.
I saw this TikTok of these people who are saying they tell all their kids their favorites and take them out on little dates, so they think like they're really important to the parent. So then all their kids behave for them because they think they're special. But then all of them are getting the same equal treatment, but none of them know about it. I'm like, that is genius and scary.
That's scary because, like, what if they end up talking?
Yeah, I know. But they all think they're, like, real special because, like, they're going out with their parents and the other siblings don't know. And they think this is the only one that's happening to. They feel special, but they're just not.
That goes over just as well as, like, in professional jobs whenever they say, hey, don't talk about, like, your pay with other coworkers. And then you realize, like, wait a second.
You should be
getting paid that?
You should be talking about your pay.
You should be talking about your pay.
The thing is, one of you's getting goofed.
Yeah.
You don't want to be that person.
Well... Taking that to the kids, like, that's a whole other thing. Like, if they end up talking to each other, it's a wrap.
It's a wrap.
Someone's getting fired.
No one's gonna be no one's favorite now.
Someone's again put up for adoption.
Oh, no. Oh.
All right.
Welcome to this week's episode, guys.
Yes.
It is Logan, so if you need to click off.
Yeah.
Just kidding.
I'm going to do something a little different that we've never done before.
Scandal.
And you know this, I texted you about it.
Yes, that it's like... I'll let you explain.
This week I will be covering 2 cases.
Bum, bum,
dun dun dun. This might go over well. We might reach to the hour mark. It might be 3 hours. We don't know. It's not.
That's fine. You do you. See if we have space, but you do you.
Yeah. So maybe all of you who don't listen to my episode will actually like that one because it's more than one mystery.
You get double whammied.
Right.
You're welcome.
Exactly. But yeah, no. So I wanted to try it out. I don't think we've ever done more than one mystery on a regular episode before.
I don't think so.
Other than campfire stories, but that's
other than like the idea of like a concept, and we will tell stories within a concept.
Yeah.
But never like 2 separate mysteries.
Yeah. Both of these things have like similar attachments to each other, and I was trying to figure out which one did I want to do.
Yeah.
There's one that's going to be the more focal point, which is the one we'll talk about first.
Okay.
And then there's a smaller case that they don't tie together, but they have similar vibes, I guess you could say.
Okay.
So
I'm excited.
yeah, so
Okay.
I feel like maybe I'll just introduce the first one.
Okay.
We'll go through it, and then I'll introduce the second one.
Alrighty. So do you want 2 drum rolls or just like?
I would like 2. So
you said I deserve 2.
I deserve 2 drum rolls.
You do.
I've been a good boy this week.
You're welcome.
I deserve a little treat of 2 drum rolls.
You deserve a little treat.
All
Okay,
right. Would you
let me
like to
know.
give me a little drum roll, please?
Yes,
Tiffany?
I would. You ready, Freddy?
Yes, I am.
Okay.
This week on case number 1 of the Mystery Files, we will be discussing the case of the Golem.
Oh, I don't know what
The
that is.
Golem?
The
The
Golem? Golem?
Golem?
Is
Golem?
that from that Lord of the Rings? Golem.
That thing's called Golem.
Okay,
But
good.
yes,
Then I'm aware.
close.
I'm aware. Universally.
That's okay. I've never seen Lord of the Rings, so I don't know. I just know pop culture.
I've fallen asleep during Lord of the Rings. Does that count?
Yeah.
I've heard the flutes.
I'm still so sad. This is so off topic.
Yeah.
We just discovered the case, but I want a cute boy to just show me Lord of the Rings and Star Wars. I've never seen either, and I've held off on it so I could go on a cute little date where they show me it, and it hasn't happened. And I was this close, Tiffany.
Oh
I was this close.
Yeah.
And I didn't get it again. So I'm just thinking maybe I just need to watch them myself at this point.
Logan, you should have watched Star Wars. It was showing all week at the theater.
You didn't tell me we could have had a date.
They might be showing. What day is it today? 23rd?
Tuesday.
Oh, it's still showing tomorrow.
Let's go.
Aw.
Wait, I don't think I'm busy tomorrow. Maybe.
I'm going home for Thanksgiving. Actually.
Oh, boo.
Boo.
All right.
Being thankful.
Anyway,
but you could have
no.
gone on your date then. Well, you wouldn't have seen them all in one day, but still.
No, but the Golem is I'll get into it like inside of the case, but they're like the clay creatures you'll see.
Oh, okay.
Like they're creatures that are like made completely out of clay.
They come to life? Question mark?
Yeah, they come to life. They've been in like a lot of different like historical stuff. So I guess like for example, I just like a quick idea of it. A golem is a creature that is formed out of a lifeless substance such as dust or earth that is brought to life by ritual incantations and sequences of Hebrew letters.
That's cool.
It's a Jewish folklore story.
I love that.
Mm-hmm. So like this, for example.
Whoa.
You ever seen these before?
Yes, they look familiar.
Yeah.
Is there some pop culture, like a movie that was in or something?
So many things. So many things the golem has.
Oh, I'll make a connection eventually. There's one specific thing I'm thinking of, but I can't place it.
So where we're going to be talking about most of the stuff about the golem, however you prefer to call it, is coming from grunge.com.
Grunge.com.
Grunge before for stuff?
Probably, yeah.
Grunge has a lot of quirky little stuff in it, and
Quirky
they do a
little
really
things.
good job. So go check out the article as well.
Eee.
All right, so steeped in Jewish folklore, the basic story of the golem typically follows a given path. A highly intelligent, learned person, usually a rabbi, creates a being out of clay to serve the Jewish community. That being is then given a sort of life after a person carves or otherwise installs a mystical phrase like the secret name of God onto the creature's body. It awakens as a golem. Though it's silent, it's tremendously strong and not terribly thoughtful. Often something goes awry, like a poorly worded command, and the golem turns from a helpful protector to a community menace. Its creature is then forced to put the creature down, often by altering its life-giving inscriptions. Simple enough for a bedtime story short, but a little bit of extra digging will show that there's more to the golem legend than a poorly considered creation gone wrong. There are threads within the many golem stories that link back to mysticism and hidden knowledge, while others discuss the meaning of what it is to be alive. Many more hinge on the hubris of people, even very wise and respected ones, who think that they can take on the creative work of God and come out unscathed. And on a more practical level, the golem has since grown into a figure of Jewish resistance and strength, given that many tales have it protecting vulnerable Jewish communities throughout the ages. The history of the golem, in short, rich, complicated, and ripe for investigation.
That's so cool.
Yeah, so like right off the bat, like just kind of giving like a little intro to like what is going on. That was like a big thing that came up when I was doing this research. Was I actually didn't know that the golem was based in Jewish folklore. I had
Yeah,
no
I
idea.
didn't know.
Not
I
a
mean,
clue.
I barely know what it is. I hadn't learned about it before. Like I've seen
Mm-hmm.
imagery, but I didn't know like it was used as a protective thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
You
no.
said Gatorade.
I'm trying to get my drink. I'm gonna just leave it right here. Quench my thirst.
Quench your thirst, home skizzle.
But yeah, no. I didn't realize that either. But every time I was doing it, I believe it'll go a little more in depth. So I don't want to get too into it. But
Mm-hmm.
basically, golems were created to help protect Jewish communities from harm.
That's
Um,
really nice.
yeah. So it was a very it's a very interesting thing because I didn't realize that that the Jewish community had tales of like creatures like that were meant to like protect them.
Yeah, I didn't either.
Yeah. So going in, this is the tales of the golem going back to the very beginning. So, in its earliest, simplest form, golem is a descriptive word used to refer to being that's half formed. According to the Jewish Encyclopedia and some interpretations of early Jewish texts, Adam himself is referred to as a golem because he's
Oh.
not a man made out of mud wreaking havoc in paradise. Instead, the term refers to his first few hours as a shapeless mass, long
Hmm.
before his limbs were formed, or he was granted a soul by God. It makes sense given that he was said to have been shaped from the clay of the earth.
Wow, that's cool.
Right?
Okay.
I like that's so like
What a fun take
right to
on
think
it.
about.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think that's where like a lot of this comes from too, is like using the clay of the earth to make life again if
Mm-hmm.
it was created from Adam.
Yeah.
Yeah. So other religious texts like the Bible briefly refer to the embryos still growing in the womb as golems, again
Mm.
referencing their half-formed pre-human nature. Psalms 139:16 says, "Thine eyes did see my substance, yet being imperfect." The word substance in some versions is also translated as golem.
Okay.
So yeah, so
Hmm.
golem like basically is just like a referring to like a beginning of life, like um that's where like its original intent came from. It's just like
Mm-hmm.
in between of like not fully living but
Mm-hmm.
not fully created. It's like a weird like I'm a lot like it's almost like a purgatory
Yeah, the
situation
in between of like
of be, of
existing.
existing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Huh.
the Jewish Virtual Library notes that some portions of the Talmud,
Mm-hmm.
hint at golems that were made not by the Almighty, but by very learned humans like the prophet Jeremiah. Then again, there's also the chance that these very early legends aren't referring to a man that's made out of clay and animated by magic, but are instead talking about a metaphorical spiritual transformation. And it's important to note that while Adam was said to be created by God and so imbued with a soul, golems created even by the holiest and wisest of men lack that divine spark.
Mm.
So what makes Adam different is that like he is not he was created by God.
Yeah.
Like these are like people trying to almost like play God in that sense of like can they create life?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so the next part is the golem really began as a Jewish folklore figure. So, if we're not talking about linguistic details or literary flair, then the figure of the speechless clay based golem doesn't really appear until long after the Talmud had established itself as a religious document and even after the newer Bible gained a foothold amongst Christians. For the concept of a creature made from soil created by humans and meant to serve them, we'll need to turn to Zephyr Yetzari, or the Book of Creation. This is one of the earliest known books to deal with Jewish mysticism and
Mm.
secret knowledge. Which again, it's just like so interesting to know that there's been all this folklore with them, like with like the Jewish community this entire time. Because I had no
Yeah.
idea.
It's
Like,
nice to hear from like a different, I don't know, just like a different place. I don't know,
mm-hmm.
like a different folklore story. Because I feel like you
Yeah,
hear a lot of the same
mm-hmm.
strange like folklore stories from the different places, but you never hear anything
Yeah,
from like the Jewish community.
yeah. No, exactly. It's very interesting because like I feel like also we don't have like we don't also don't cover a lot of folklore that deals with a lot of other religions too much. Like
Yeah.
I think I talked about like the craziness of that like one book on the campfire stories episode, but like we don't really cover a lot of
Mm-hmm.
like religious folklore or mythical creatures that come from it too much.
There
So
was what was the one? Maybe it was part of the campfire stories where you were showing those images.
Yeah, that was the campfire
That was
one.
campfire. What? Do you know what creature that was?
Let me look. I
'Cause-
don't remember the name of the creatures, but the Book of Miracles was the case.
yeah.
Mhm.
Because that was one that had like biblical roots. It's just interesting to hear something from a whole different perspective.
Right?
It's
Exactly.
nice. It's refreshing.
Yes. All right. So, let's see here. Yes. So, this is one of the earliest known books to deal with Jewish mysticism and secret knowledge per Britannica.com.
Mhm.
Except that Zephyr Yetzirah itself won't have a ton of direct information about the nature of golems. Instead, as the Jewish Virtual Library notes, we'll have to turn to Rabbi Neckel. It's Rabbi Nicole, basically. Like Nicole Rabbi. Like Rabbi Nicole.
Rabbi Nicole.
Rabbi Nickel? Rabbi Nickel!
Rabbi
Maybe?
Nickel.
Rabbi Nickel? Robin Nickel.
Robin Nickel.
Rabbi Nickel. I think I got it.
You did great.
Words are great.
You
I
did
promise
good.
everybody I read this beforehand. Maybe I should have
No.
sounded out every word.
Listen,
but,
you're trying. You're trying. If anyone's mad, Logan's sorry. Logan's trying. Robin Nickel.
This is so side tangent for a second, but I feel like also like on my cases I get very ambitious with some of them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I'll be able to. What is that? Like that one episode we did that was almost like fully like Greek and like French. I was like, oh yeah, I'll be fine.
You said, yeah, I can say these words.
What was it? The man, like the man with the iron mask or whatever.
Wasn't
that was
there like old
completely
French
in
names or something?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the thing is, you do good as long as you're saying the names confidently and apologetically.
Mm-hmm.
Then who's gonna be mad?
Exactly.
The thing,
That's how we've gotten this far in this podcast.
Yeah.
You do it with confidence.
The thing is, you know that you could be doing it wrong, but you're trying, and that's what matters.
And that's what matters.
That's what matters. You're trying.
But yeah, so on this text, actually, religious leaders added their own gloss to the original text, which appeared to contain a pretty clear definition of a golem amongst them, along with less clear instructions for making one. Most interpretations of Zephyr Yetzirah's guide to creating a golem center on forming a human shape out of clay or dirt and using the hidden name of God to bring the figure to life, or at least its strange half-life. And it's pretty clear that while the original mystical texts of Judaism don't necessarily contain a ton of information about golems, the creature has since gained quite a life in the Jewish folklore and oral traditions of Europe and beyond.
That's such a creepy idea. Of like forming clay in like a human form and then saying stuff to bring it to life.
Yeah,
like it just reminds me so much, and like it reminds me so much of Chucky the doll. And like I know you're not building well, maybe Chucky, what was the situation with him? I know there was a curse that was like said over him to make him evil.
Yeah.
But I don't remember that whole situation. But I know like he became evil.
Yeah.
And like maybe in like the old ones there was something about, I remember like a scene in the factory. I really don't remember, but I want to know because that's what it's reminding me of, the Chucky doll.
Yeah, it's also reminding me of the like Slappy the dummy stuff. Also,
Yeah.
like saying like the incantation
Yeah.
that came with him on the thing
To bring him to life, to make him evil.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. No. Exactly. There's a spoiler for a recent Goosebumps book, but I guess like one of the ways Slappy comes to life in one of the newer ones, because I'm also on Goosebumps YouTube lately. I've been like watching a bunch of like videos about it. But one of the things was that like I guess this one girl already knew who Slappy was and was freaking out because her one brother was pretending he came back to life. So she read the incantation thinking that he actually came back to life.
No.
And then like threw it away because like okay, he's like God now. And then it was literally like he was never alive. She's the one who awoke him.
Oh my gosh.
Could you imagine?
I'm gonna get you a Slappy dummy and do that.
Do not.
I'm gonna do it.
Do not. Oh my god, no. I'm so scared of puppets. That's why like again, like I don't know why I thought I was ambitious enough to do the Robert the Doll episode. Sorry, Robert.
Listen, I've never liked dolls. I'll say it. They've always freaked me out. And then when I was little, my older brother had a Chad doll, and I'm pretty sure I told this story on the podcast before. That he had a Chucky doll, and he pretended to do the incantation when we were little, and he moved it around the house with a knife.
Oh my god.
And convinced us that the doll was living and was trying to kill us because he had did the incantation on it. And I don't even think he remembers that he did it. But
You're like, I remember.
Listen, I was like 4 or 5.
Yeah.
Watching those movies, shouldn't have. We've gone over this. But seeing that doll move around, traumatized me.
No,
And
I
then
can imagine.
I didn't really like baby dolls and stuff after that either, because I was like, well, they're gonna kill me. Thanks.
You go to an antique store and you just start crying.
Yeah, well, that's what Kaleidoscope, her being afraid of dolls, that was based on my
Oh
fear.
yeah, I'm wearing your sweater right
Yeah,
now.
thank you. Shout out to my short film,
You're
Kaleidoscope.
welcome.
But yeah, dolls ain't it. Robert the doll, not it.
Not it.
And we said goodbye to him, right? He's not gonna come. He's not gonna be. Sorry, is it Robert?
There you go.
I forgot his name.
But yeah, no. I wonder if like I don't know for sure because I feel like incantations of
Mm-hmm.
bringing things to life have been a thing like probably as early as like anything. But like I
Yeah.
wonder if like golems could have like added to that at all because like this is like saying that it goes back like a really long time, like back to like the creation like of Adam. So it's
Yeah.
literally like so interesting to think like
That could have been the start
the
of
start
it.
of like incantations to bring something to life that's inanimate.
Well, also
Um,
just the idea of like literally building it from clay, creating some sort of humanoid figure thing,
mm-hmm.
and making life from that. That's so creepy.
Yeah.
Also, it I don't know if there was any sort of connection here, but if it had any sort of connection to like voodoo dolls and that kind of stuff,
Mm-hmm.
like creating life in like inanimate objects like that.
Yeah.
But
When I was doing this
freaky.
article research too, a lot of people referenced Full Metal Alchemist as like a big
Okay.
inspiration. Not a big like Full Metal Alchemist was super inspired by like golems and like Jewish folklore of that stuff because
Okay.
Full Metal Alchemist is like this idea of like using like alchemy to bring like creatures to life and like golem things. I haven't
Mhm.
seen Full Metal Alchemist. That's just kind of what I was like researching and people were saying
Mhm. It's
like
also a book, right?
I don't know actually. It's an anime. I know that much. It's a very popular
Okay.
anime.
Okay.
Very very popular one. But yeah, so
Interesting.
this next subject, speaking of incantations bring it to life, this is
Ooh.
called How Are You Supposed to Make a Golem Anyway?
Great. Now people are going to be trying this at home. Do not
Yeah.
try this at home.
All right, everyone, this is the part of the podcast where you go outside, you get a nice big bucket of dirt,
Great.
mold a person
Cool.
out, and we'll show you how to do it.
I'm scared. It's a how-to from like high school or middle school.
We summon a golem right now, like outside. It's like walking up to our place.
Yeah.
We're like, hey, golem.
How to make a golem. Open your front door. Walk down the stairs. Keep walking. Grab some dirt.
What if the golem we create from this part comes in and he like puts the headphones on and goes.
Yeah, he just starts moaning. Yeah, he does that.
Wait.
Oh no.
Pretend I'm the golem. Like I'm on the podcast.
You're the golem. Do you want me to moan for you?
No, I'm the golem. You have to ask me a question.
Okay. Hey, Golem, how are you? What's new? You a big fan of the podcast, Golem? Stop. Why is it
That wasn't even
literally?
me. That was really good.
That literally sounded like the world is moaning. I'm afraid. What's your middle name? That's about right.
All right. So, making a golem is a tricky process that's almost impossible to get right.
Okay, so we gotta be gentle
Yeah.
with this.
So now we've already messed up by making fun of them.
Great.
Even
Great
for
start.
the most careful, holy people to take on the task, that's us.
I'm so holy.
We're the most holy people.
I've been called holy.
You are. You're a nice. You are a nice religious girl.
I'm a nice Christian girl. Grew up in a Christian household. I love my God.
Going by the various legends of the golem that have been successfully brought into the world, you might regret creating one anyway.
Great. What if it's a nice one?
It could be a nice one. Like I
Be
think
friendly.
if we were to make a golem, we would make the first nice one.
Mm-hmm.
Like the first, like there would be nothing wrong with it.
I think I know what I'm thinking of. Oh my gosh. Is it like the movie Toy Soldiers? Is that what it's called?
Maybe.
Oh my gosh. Oh my
I haven't
gosh.
seen Toy Soldier. I don't know what that is.
I need to look it up after. Oh my gosh. If anyone knows what I'm talking about. Oh, sorry. I'm having
want me
more.
to
I'm having.
Google
Yes,
Toy
look it up
Soldier?
right now.
Okay.
Did you ever watch that movie when the toys come to life? It's not Toy Story. And like
Did this movie come
the
first or
soldiers
what?
melt. This comes before. Does it have like the little army guy?
Mm-hmm. Let's see. Toy Soldier movie.
Not the song. Toy Soldier.
No, that's what came up. Small soldiers, you mean?
Small? Yeah, tiny.
Small soldiers.
Wait, let me see what it looks like. Does it have the
It's
little?
a G.I. Joe thing.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I think I have seen this actually.
Oh my gosh, and they melt.
Uh huh.
I feel like that's what I'm thinking of, like something
Yeah.
like that made from dirt. Sorry, you were saying. It's just like my brain was like,
No, it's
this is the
okay.
answer to what you're looking for,
Well,
Tiffany.
this kind of looks like a golem. This clip right here,
That's
the
what I'm
Gorgorites.
saying. That's what I'm saying. Those guys.
Well, part of the reason I want to do this case too is because I really like claymation also, and since this has to
Yeah.
do with clay and like bringing things to life, I was kind of like, ooh,
You said,
okay,
here we are.
yeah, all
So
right.
what's the next step in the process to make one of these
uh,
little guys?
but if you're really interested, there are some instructions out there in text like the mystical Zephyr Yetzirah and
Mm.
rabbis' commentaries therein. Per the Jewish Virtual Library, these usually start off with a directive to shape a human form out of soil or clay,
Mhm.
you either alone or with a group of similar holy and learned people, like you and I,
Mhm.
need to then walk
Learned.
around. We have to walk around the lifeless form, chanting the incantations made up of letters from the Hebrew alphabet and also the
Okay.
secret name of God. I've heard of that before,
Yahweh?
about the
What's the
secret
secret
name of
name of
God.
God? Look it up. We do it after
Google's gonna
this.
know.
What would it be? My guess is like a Yahweh or like a, but maybe a Jewish
Well,
secret name.
maybe it's not maybe it's not
Oh, I need to know. What's the secret name? Does it say Yahweh as one of them?
yeah,
That's
wait,
what
I
I.
think so, Yahweh, but it's like spelled like
A W.
YHWH. Yeah. But I think it also could be like one of those like secret things too that they don't want us to fully know. Like it might be like inside of those letters too.
Or like in
Like
one of the um, Jewish texts. I don't
yes,
know what I'm trying to
yes.
say.
No, that's what I was thinking. Like the Hebrew scrolls or something too. Like it's like
Mm-hmm.
they don't want that word to get out also, which kind of adds to like the legend of it also.
I want to know. They said we got to keep this a secret, or people are going to bring evil things to life.
Yeah. So as the Golem Redux notes,
Mm-hmm.
um, which I'm gonna click on that. Yeah, the Golem
Click it.
Redux is it's a book just like all about like the golems and how they came to be and everything as
Hmm.
well, which is a very interesting thing. But some variations in the Golem Redux, some variations of these instructions also say that you need to inscribe certain letters onto the golem. I have heard of that
Oh.
before,
Okay.
usually spelling out emet or truth on the creature's
Mm.
forehead. And when the golem inevitably gets frighteningly strong and starts to run out of your control, erasing a single letter in that sequence changes the word to mean death instead. So going from
Weird.
truth to death. Otherwise, you might write God's name on a bit of paper and place it into the golem's mouth. To subdue an
Hmm.
unruly golem made in its way, you simply need to get close to the raging powerful creature and remove the tiny scrap of parchment from its mouth.
Hmm.
So I have heard of that before. I have heard about needing to like scribe certain letters and codes onto things to bring something to life, like or
Mm-hmm.
incantations. It's just something I've seen before. Like,
Oh. Okay.
um,
Yeah, I've never heard that.
you've never heard of that before,
No.
really? I think I kind of this is like a weird example of that, but like it kind of gives me one of like a good example maybe to think of is like Code Lyoko. You know how like the monsters in it. Have you seen Code Lyoko?
No.
Code Lyoko's so good,
Oh my
Tiffany.
gosh, I'm sorry. I'm
Okay,
sorry. I'm a simple girl.
this is so veered off to the side, but Code Lyoko
Mm-hmm.
was a cartoon on
Mm-hmm.
Cartoon Network back in
Oh.
2005,
Throwback.
and basically it's these like little alien creatures. Wait, no,
Mm-hmm.
I'm lying. It's these kids who have to fight all these bugs in like a video game, and
Okay.
they're all like claymation, like because it's like a video game thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Can you pull up an image?
yes,
I'm very image driven for
yes,
childhood stuff. I feel like people can give me a name of something
yes.
and I'm like, I really couldn't tell you. But if
But
I see it, I'm gonna know.
But the reason I bring it up is because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of the monsters inside of Code Lyoko have like a little symbol on them or like an incantation. So like that stuff.
I feel like I've seen that in commercials, but I don't think I ever watched that. No.
Oh my god,
Like
Code
I've seen
Lyoko is
that
so
graphic,
good.
that little thing, but I've never seen that show.
Send me a message on Instagram if anyone wants to talk about Code Lyoko. It changed my
Cole, if you
childhood.
want to talk about small soldiers, let me know.
Yeah, but like even here, look at this thing called Colossus. It literally looks like a golem.
Aw, it's cute.
But yeah, no, I've seen that before.
Cute.
Just like that idea of like ancient text onto monsters or creatures, like using
Mm-hmm.
it to like bring power or whatnot. Um,
Aw.
I like the idea of like the paper in the mouth too. I feel like I've heard of that before somewhere too. I can't think of a piece of media where I've seen that happen, but I can vividly see it in my brain.
I will say a piece of media that I've seen it in
Mhm.
would be it's just called The Patient, and it's
Oh,
on.
you've been wanting me to watch that.
I finally finished it, and there was a brief thing where it had something similar to that. I'm not going to give anything away.
About golems?
No, about a piece of paper in the mouth,
Oh.
and it does have a lot of roots in Judaism. So
Oh, really?
yeah, like there's a lot of
No way.
yeah, a lot of the subtext is Jewish
Huh.
stuff because Steve
Okay.
Carell's character is a Jewish man, and he's also
Oh.
Jewish, I believe, in real life. But his
Oh.
character, yeah,
Well, I'm gonna have to give it a watch then. Dang,
yeah.
that's crazy.
Now this is the you're like finally now I'll watch it. I've been trying to
Now that
convince
it
you.
suits me,
Now that it
I'll
suits
watch
me,
it.
now that I've discovered the show,
Uh,
you've seen this little underground show. It's called The Patient.
so the next thing we're going to talk about is one of the oldest tales of a man-made golem, and it comes
Mm.
from Poland.
Ooh, that's fun.
So, amongst scholars, the oldest known story of a soil-based golem made by humans comes to us from Poland, specifically Kelm, a Polish town where in the 16th century legend maintains that a rabbi, Elijah Balshim, created the infamous golem of Kelm. According to a video released by Sensory Stroni Bajik,
Mm.
Rabbi Sheen was incredibly wise and well-educated religious leader who was also exceedingly well versed in a mystical Kabbalah tradition. He
Mm.
was so well educated, it seems that he created a clay based golem to serve and protect the Jewish people of Kelm, but setting
Mm.
off a narrative streak that would last for centuries. Um, so, right off the bat, I talked about this in the beginning of the episode, but like
Mhm.
golems, like were made to protect the Jewish community and the people because of all the obviously the discrimination and the hate that is towards the Jewish community. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be this way of like protecting them. And a
Mhm.
lot of the folklore is just like, oh, we have nothing to fear because we have this like giant human clay based creature protecting
Yeah.
us from this harm's way.
And you can already tell this guy already has like some of the boxes to create this thing because
Mm-hmm.
he's well read and he's very religious. So
Yes, very
like,
holy, very
yeah.
wise, they were saying also.
Mhm.
But setting off a narrative streak that would last for centuries, the golem proved to follow instructions too literally. When asked to collect wood, for instance, the golem attempted to chop down an entire forest.
Mhm.
The golem was also seen to be growing larger and stronger than it had originally been created for.
Aww.
To fix the problem, Rabbi Sheen was at least still able to use his smarts to end the golem's existence. The Golem Redux reports that in the legend, the rabbi asked the ever taller golem to lean down and help the rabbi remove his shoes. Rabbi Sheen quickly wiped away the letter Aleph from the golem's forehead, turning a met truth to mean death instead. And in some versions, the rabbi survives, while in others, he is crushed by the weight of the falling insensible golem, and also metaphorically by his own hubris.
Oh, that's deep.
That's so interesting to think about. I'm sorry, but there's just like so funny about like the golem being like, "Hey, go chop some wood," and it's just
He goes, "Okay, I'll chop down the whole forest." I think that's so wholesome.
can you imagine like if we made a golem here in like
Mhm.
uh Pennsylvania, and then like we said, go chop like a thing down, and then it cuts down all of Appalachia.
It's like, well, you tried.
I can't imagine. That'd be so
Oh, it
funny.
makes me sad that like the rabbi wanted to kill him and did in
Yeah.
some aspects. Like one of the versions, I guess it dies, but
Yeah, well that's the thing is like it's kind of on this like fence of like does it actually have like because it's sentient doesn't mean it has a personality or can it feel? It's like a
yeah,
lot of debate of like if a golem can actually if it's only meant to just take like the one command because like it said go
yeah,
chop wood it doesn't understand the like actual boxes of what it means to just chop one thing of wood.
yeah. Well, the thing is, I'd
You
still
know.
be sad. It's just like
I
like
know.
BFG vibes, big friendly giant.
Oh yeah.
Oh, and I'm like,
Oh
oh, you can't kill the BFG.
yeah.
That's so sweet.
So this is the next golem story here. This is the one
Hmm.
about a golem that was set in Prague.
Ooh.
So, ultimately, there's no escaping the most prevalent and often retold story of the golem of Prague. In fact, the golem in question is so well known that it's hard to visit Prague without seeing his image somewhere.
Ooh.
According to the New York Times, people can see a Golem musical, dine at the Golem restaurant, and buy any number of different Golem figurines. I think we have to
Oh,
go.
I need to
I
like.
think we need to
Did
go.
they got this soundtrack on Spotify?
I sure hope so.
I'm gonna be listening to it
I would believe
immediately.
it. Oh my gosh. Honestly, yeah, wait.
It's probably
Golem
a whole
musical.
vibe. Golem musical. I need to know more.
Okay. Come on.
Dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee-dee. I'm so excited.
Golem West End, yeah, it's a thing.
Can you play a little clip of it?
I don't think
We're
so.
not. We're not
There's
gonna
just
get copywritten.
no, there's just like a tour trailer for it.
Oh,
It's like
boo,
2015.
boo! I want to hear it after the show. After the
After
show.
the show, we can take a little.
We can put it on our story then when we post the episode on our
Oh, we
Instagram.
could. That's true.
I'm so excited.
But the Jewish Quarterly Reviews argues that the story of Prague's golem is heavily influenced by the earlier tale of the golem of Chelm from Poland.
Mhm.
Only this time, the rabbi at the center of the tale is Rabbi Judah Low, a real man who was so renowned for his learning that he gained the title of Maharal, derived from his status as a respected teacher. As the story generally goes, Rabbi Low created the golem to serve the Jewish community of the 16th century Prague, which was beset by the anti-Semitism that they were facing. He took clay from a nearby river and built the golem, inscribing a met on the creature's forehead, and the golem went on to do both mundane and wondrous things. That's just like me. I do the same thing. I wake up and do mundane and wondrous things every day.
Wow.
I wake
You're
up and
stunning.
do my silly tasks, then go to bed.
You said it's time to do my day, and you do your day, and you're done.
He took, yes. So from protecting the people in the Jewish community to summoning the spirits of those who were long dead. Eventually, the golem went on a rampage, tearing apart the Jewish community, and Lo was forced to smear the clay inscription met. This remains of that golem are rumored to be in the attic of the city's old new synagogue, which still stands to this very day.
So you're telling me that stuff could still be there?
Yeah, like it's saying that they
attic.
think that the remains of the golem are in the attic of this synagogue right now. Like we could go to Prague and probably.
Wow. You want to go?
Oh my god, Vlog Squad!
Vlog Squad!
But yeah, no, so
Ooh.
this one I guess is like basically saying like one of the biggest things that happened, like why this story is so popular is I guess because like there was this idea that the golem went like crazy and was like destroying the city.
Wow,
Like,
it's unfortunate that like it was created with the purpose to protect and it turned not necessarily turned, but like it didn't understand its power, it seems like, and
yeah.
became a
Well,
threat.
that's hard. It's like it's not fully because, like, in my opinion, from how these stories are sounding and like how we're supposed to think golem in a cryptid way, is that golems are supposed to not be
self-aware.
Yeah, self-aware.
Sentient, whatever
like
you
I'm
called
thinking in cryptoology.
Yeah.
Golems are not fully sentient or understanding.
Yeah, so like it's
From
just
what it
big and
seems.
doesn't know its impact.
Yeah.
Oh, it's unfortunate that it became aggressive.
No. Alright, so the next part is this is about how the golem is used as a symbol of the Jewish resistance. So in many retellings of the Golem of Prague, doesn't just fetch water or chop wood, but also stands between the Jewish people and the violent anti-Semitism like the Blood Lapel. Per the Atlanta Jewish Times, the Blood Lapel was a lie concocted by fanatics who claimed that Jewish people used Christian blood in secret rituals. It wasn't true, of course, but that didn't stop the Blood Lapel tale from spreading and being used as an excuse for real violence. At least in some legends, the golem was there to defend the Jewish people of Prague against the lie, and sometimes was able to produce supposed victims of the Blood Lapel. So basically, he was supposed to be this like protector of like this very like what's the word, stigmatized idea of like what was happening around them.
So people were like spreading lies saying that Jewish people were using Christians' blood as for rituals.
Yeah, basically.
That's really messed up.
And the golem was there to like protect people because like obviously that would cause
people
like
hate
an outrage and hysteria, but like not justified in the slightest.
It's just crazy that hate has been around for so long. It's disappointing.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy thing because like I think this is the first time we've done like a cryptid case where it's like yeah it's all like fun and like silly and stuff, but like this one is very much more based in like reality, but it's also like
and like big social
Yeah,
issues
big
and like
social issues.
yeah.
Which it's so interesting to have like a creature, like something that is used so much in modern day pop culture
Yeah.
that was like used as like a symbol of like resistance towards anti like Semitism. Like that's just
Mhm.
so it's just so interesting to me. So this is the last part we'll talk about.
Mhm.
Um so this is about how the tales of the golem have been linked to Frankenstein's monster.
Whoa.
Right?
That makes so much sense. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know why we didn't think about that.
Yeah. So, taken broadly, there are some clear narrative parallels between classic tales of the golem and the human creature created by an unstable scientist named Victor Frankenstein.
Ooh.
There's no real evidence that author Mary Shelley drew upon Jewish folklore when writing her 1818 novel Frankenstein, but considering the basic plot, a brilliant human creates life that eventually grows too powerful and turns against its creator and the rest of the world. The learned rabbis of legend would probably be able to argue with Victor Frankenstein at length. And Frankenstein's monster, who names himself Adam, after that
Mm.
initial Adam who was first made from clay, bewails his imperfect form. If the golem could speak, would he say something similar? Tablet
Mm.
notes state that there's more to this connection than surface level similarities. However, Rabbi Lowe's involvement within the story first arose not in the 16th century, but the 19th, when people seemed to be primed to look for characters who defied the laws of nature. Literary scholars and writers, not all whom were Jewish, encouraged the rise of this fantastical creation tale. It was the tail to end of the Enlightenment. After all, when
Mm.
anything must have seemed possible, even a man made from spare body parts or simply the clay of the earth, and Prague, with its reputation for the mystical and penchant for pushing boundaries, was just the right city for the romantic era golem to call home.
Mm.
So it's basically like saying that like with it being set in uh like how like Prague is like that like 16th like century area. It's like very interesting with like Frankenstein and like
Mhm.
that city that it like starts in and just like the similarities of just like how the golem was created. A lot of people like in English scholars like they said who are not even like who are not Jewish
Mhm.
literally also think yeah, there's actually a lot of similarities between this book and a lot of these like scrolls and tablets and folklore that come from the
Yeah.
golem.
I
So,
would love to like read more about the golems and then go
mm-hmm.
and read Frankenstein just to like
Mm-hmm.
actually see because it does seem like it is like fairly
Yeah,
similar and even like they said there's like not there's stuff under the surface when within the book that also matches that kind of stuff. So I'm
yeah.
intrigued to see what that exactly means and I'm curious as to where Mary Shelley the author found her information. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, exactly. That's what I like want to think about too, because it is just so curious to me that like this was like kind of happening. Because I feel like Frankenstein, now that I think about it, yeah, it's like the most iconic story of something organic coming back. Well, not
Mhm.
organic, like something like coming to life because Frankenstein I think is made up of like a bunch of different parts. It's not just like human remains, right? It's like a bunch of different things
As
all in
far
one.
as I know. And
Yeah.
then I'm not sure what year that book was written, but it's interesting to see it in context to Judaism, especially like that far in the
Yeah.
past. I'm not exactly
Yeah.
sure when it was written, but
Frankenstein was written January 1st of 1818.
so it was early, early.
Yeah, so I think that's just so intriguing. Like it's still like a couple hundred years I think in between, but it's still kind of like if that's just when the folklores were like starting, because it said what it started as early as 16th century, and like
I believe
16th
so.
century is 1700s, isn't it?
Mhm.
Right? Isn't it that?
Yeah, it's always a year
It's after a
after.
year after
That's how I
something like
remember
that.
math.
But yeah, I just find that like kind of intriguing to like think about like because in terms of like pop culture and the things we do, like
Yeah.
give it like 100 or 200 years and come back to it. I don't know. I just
Mhm.
find that quite interesting. Yeah, so that is all I have for that case. That is the case of the golem. What do you think?
10 out of 10. I definitely want to do more
Yeah.
research. I feel like it was very interesting. I liked how it was wrapped in like actual historical truth and I I want to say I believe golems exist, but I feel like I definitely believe that what they represented existed.
Mm.
Like the idea
Yeah.
that people created them to feel like there was some sort of protection, because I feel like
Oh
people do
yeah.
that now with like crystals or whatever kind of thing
Mm.
makes you feel like you are protected. Like I like the idea they had something to actually represent that,
Yeah.
and if there was something spiritual going on, I feel like that's even it's nice to have something to believe in.
No, yeah, I really agree with that. Like, because I think like it's just it is for sure probably a story that was told in like households. Because you got to think like if they're like if there's people in the Jewish community, like Jewish families who are like scared for their lives and with their kids, like
Yeah.
I could see like parents being like, "Don't worry, the golem will protect us tonight. Like we have nothing to
Yeah.
worry about." Like, but then also telling tales of the golem kind of going on rampages or doing these things like kind of shows also maybe a way of like there's a reason why they're not still around, like
Mhm.
in those terms. I just find it quite interesting. But I guess we'll
Yeah.
have to go to that synagogue attic and see if we can find.
Let's try to bring up those little
Yeah,
the remains of his clay and just try to do it ourselves.
this is the god complex we get from this podcast. Is like
I
going
think I
ahead
can
and
do anything. I'm
right.
unstoppable. Come on. We just
Exactly.
gotta befriend a rabbi. So if you're a rabbi and want to befriend me for some weird, strange reason, let's go try this because I believe you have the power. I definitely don't get the kind of power, but I think you got it, Mr. Rabbi guy. So let's become friends. Let's do the thing. Let's make a golem.
Let's make a golem, a
Let's make a
golem.
golem and a golem, Mr. Rabbi. Let's
Mm-hmm.
go.
Yes. So, are you ready for the next case? Did you forget it was a
Yes.
double hitter?
I did and then I didn't.
Mm-hmm.
But I just did, so.
All right, give me a drum roll, please. Late into the game.
Okay.
The next case we're talking about at the hour mark of our episode is
Woo!
the Moon-Eyed People. The ancient Moon-Eyed People. Have you ever heard of
Ooh.
this one?
No. No, I actually. Is this the one I saw on your screen or is that the golem?
No, that was the golem you saw.
Golem. Okay, good.
There's a reason I want to talk about this one.
Moon-eyed.
Going into it, but this is a story. All right. So,
Moon-eyed.
going into it.
Mhm.
So, the Moon-Eyed People are a legendary group of short-bearded, white-skinned people who are said to have lived in the Appalachia
Okay.
until the Cherokee people expelled them.
Mhm.
Stories about them attributed to Cherokee tradition are mentioned by early European settlers in America. And in a 1797 book called Benjamin Smith Barton explains they are called moon-eyed because they saw poorly during the day. Um, yeah, so these are
Hmm.
a little group of people. Just to give you a quick look at them.
Mhm.
Do-do-do-do-do.
Are they? They're short. Like how short? Like
Um,
gnomes? Or am I going the
yeah,
wrong
no, they're
route?
pretty short.
Okay.
Let me show you.
I must see them.
Moon-eyed
Okay.
people. And
Interesting.
the reason I want to do this on this episode and maybe just talk about them, and maybe like this is how, like maybe we don't have to get fully into this, but I'm
Mhm.
tying this back to golems because
Okay.
they like if you notice that like this is like a stone like
Mhm.
depiction of them, and there's like a lot of people who aren't sure like if they could have been like golems or aliens or actual people.
Okay.
Um, but yeah, so inside of this little article that I found. This article comes from where are you? Yes, this comes from allthat'sinteresting.com.
Mhm.
So, let's see here. The question that they pose is the legend of the Moon-Eyed People proof that Welsh explorers landed in America more than 300 years ago before Columbus.
Mhm.
So, deep in the woods of North Carolina once lived a group of occupants mysterious to the indigenous people who made contact with them. A small, pale, nocturnal race found in Cherokee tradition. The so called moon eyed people of the Appalachian Mountains remain a legend in the area and one that still drives researchers to learn just who these people may have been.
Mm.
With their this is their mythic origins.
Mhm.
So, as legend has it, the Moon-Eyed People were an entire race of physically small inhabitants of a wooded area near what is now known as Murphy, North Carolina.
North Carolina.
I know. Well, that's why I was trying to see if there was enough to do this because I was actually looking at North Carolina cases for a little while, and I
Oh,
found this one.
that's cool.
Right? So the Moon-Eyed People have pale white skin and bearded faces, and they have large blue eyes. That sounds like me.
I was just
Literally,
gonna
this sounds like me to a
say.
T.
Oh my
Honestly, let me
gosh.
take my glasses off. Wait just a
Now
second.
you just need to wait till your beard turns white.
Honestly,
You
I
dye
can
it
always make
white?
baby powder with it or
Oh my
something.
gosh. It's like when I was in Into the Woods and I had to put a bunch of baby powder in my hair to make it white.
Oh my god.
And teased it. It was horrendous.
Oh
My hair was like this big. White and teased.
my
White and teased.
oh my gosh. So yeah, one of the things they said too, which I found really interesting with like the Moon-eyed people, was
Mm-hmm.
that are apparently their skin was so sensitive and their blue eyes were so sensitive that they are unable to go out in the sun.
Oh.
And they are only able to operate by the light of the moon, hence the name Moon Eye.
That's so cool. That reminds me of what the heck's the name of that movie? Where the girl, the ice what am I even thinking of? Atlantis?
Yes,
Isn't that something to do with the
Atlantis.
moon? Am I silly
No, you're
at
right.
the end?
I don't know the full plot. It's been a couple years,
I
but
know.
yes.
The last time I watched it was when we watched it at school. Remember in the cinema room?
Oh my
We
god, we
watched
did
it.
watch it together. Aww.
Oh, that was the
Oh, I
last
missed that.
time.
Can we break in again?
Yeah, let's break into the building. Haha, no one arrest us.
But various tales have been told over time, both ending in the expulsion of the mysterious clan and to a life of them living underground. Um, 'Cause
Is
that
this
goes
Atlantis?
right.
Stop.
Well, yeah, actually, now that you say that, honestly, it might be. Also, makes me wonder, what if all the golems are underground too? Like, if one of them's in the attic, who say they're not all hanging out? What if the golems
Oh
and the
my
Moon-eyed people are all
god.
hanging out
That's
together?
so cute. They're BFFs.
Um,
BFFs.
but one legend finds the Moon-eyed people driven from their home by the Creek tribe from the south. The
Mm-hmm.
story goes that the Creek waited until the light of the full moon became even too bright for the nocturnal cave dwellers to face,
Mm.
ambushed them in their weak moment, and drove them from their homeland into the parts of the unknown.
Oh.
Another account sees the Cherokee people themselves fighting the Moon-eyed people towards the west into what is now Tennessee. Can you imagine that the Moon-eyed people are just running around Tennessee?
Oh my gosh.
They're in Nashville. They're out at the bars.
They're just vibing. Are we sure the Cherokee people weren't just like kicking white people off their land?
Well, that's like a part of it. Like
Yeah.
also, it's like people like aren't sure like if these are like other settlers because they're saying that like they're like shorter people, so people
Mhm.
keep going, oh, they're aliens, they're this, they're that. But just the descriptions of some of them are so like interesting, and especially with the head shape, people kind
Yeah.
of feel like they might have been otherworldly or not human, more like
Okay.
creature-esque.
Okay, I was gonna say, because it kind of seems like some sort of metaphor for like
Mhm.
white people being awful and stealing people's land, and
Right.
but
But like if you think about it too, like there's accounts of this like 300 years before like a lot of the like,
yeah.
settling happened.
Mhm.
Which I think is just so interesting too, because it's like, was it another like did this group of people actually like come to the like Americas, or was it
Mhm.
something else?
They do kind of sound alien-y. Like it kind of reminds me
Right?
of, you ever watched like Ancient Aliens, and they have like
Mm-hmm.
they show all like the old stones with the faces.
Very
This
that.
is reminding me of Ancient Aliens
Very
from the
that.
History Channel.
Right?
Oh.
While many are quick to assume that this legend is one of many found in Cherokee folklore, one glaring distinction remains.
Mhm.
Unlike many supernatural entities found in Cherokee mythology, the Cherokee referred to the Moon-eyed people as a separate race of people found inhabiting the earth at the same moment as them,
Oh.
in a time before Columbus would even discover, quotes, discover
Mhm.
the Americas. The physical difference between these indigenous people and their light-skinned counterparts immediately suggests to many that the mysterious Moon-eyed tribe descended from a group of white settlers who eventually landed themselves in the Appalachian Mountains.
Mm.
So that's kind of like where like the spectacle comes from. They're not sure, like it's just very interesting because the Cherokee people are saying, no, they look nothing like us. There's like they do not look similar to us as
Yeah.
like humans.
So they're
Um,
saying like they've seen no white people before because it's pre-Columbus, but they're
mhm.
definitely not like
Yeah.
you and I white. They are
Yes,
different
they're like white.
species.
I know everyone can't see like on the podcast right now, but like this white cabin or something. They're saying they are like a
Yeah.
solid color, like no pigmentation.
More of like an iridescent, or like not iridescent, but like
yeah, like a solid like white, like kissed by the moon almost.
Mhm.
And it's just like that's just the most interesting part because it's like they're saying like no, this is not like uh this is not just like a different color of a person. This is just a completely separate race to us.
Yeah.
Like not like out of the human race.
And I'm gonna say something. I don't think this is something offensive, but if it is, I'm sorry. But I don't know much about people who are albino.
Mm-hmm.
Would that be something that their skin would
It's
look?
possible.
Because
I
I
mean,
don't know
yeah.
much about like people who are albinos. I'm sorry if that's insensitive, but I know that.
Well, like a big group of people that were like that
Yeah,
also.
like maybe there's
Yeah.
some sort of tie in that, but like a different variation.
Yeah. Well, this is where the next part comes in. This is where one of the theories lands about like it being people.
Mm-hmm.
So a look back at the late 1100s, that's a weird word to say,
1100s.
may help to provide answers, or pending your view, add yet another layer to the mystery of the Moonite people.
Mm-hmm.
According to a 16th century manuscript published by a Welsh antiquarian, Humphrey Lloyd, a Welshman by the name of Prince Madoc was believed to have sailed from Wales across the Atlantic to what is now Mobile Bay, Alabama, in the year um, um, 1171. Yep, I said that right.
You did. You
1171.
did.
Legend has it, upon arriving, Madoc and his crew ventured north along the Alabama River toward the Tennessee Valley and were never heard from again.
Oh.
Years later, early explorers discovered a unique tribe of Welsh-speaking Native Americans, known as the
Mm.
Mondane, who, with lighter skin and a language reminiscent of Welsh, were believed to be direct descendants of the Madoc expedition.
Oh.
Whether they were in fact the first white settlers to reach the shores of the United States or not, details of their inhabitation may possibly remain along the rivers traveled and the mountains they supposedly called home. Mysterious mounds and rock fortifications remain in the expanses of the Appalachian Mountains, all without a doubt of man-made substances. A soapstone carving of conjoined figures remains on display at the Cherokee County Historical Museum, which is that's the
Mm.
image I showed you.
Mm-hmm.
And although its physical presence can be witnessed in plain sight, the mystery behind its formation remains even after all this time. Believed to be centuries old, the effigy was apparently carved out by the taping of another rock, eventually revealing a two-headed figure with round eyes too large for their faces. Although
Oh.
found in Murphy, North Carolina in the early 1840s, the figure believed to depict the Moonite people themselves only recently went on display for public viewing as early as 2015.
Wow.
So that was a lot to take in, but like it's very weird because this is like what the Cherokee people were saying what looked like them. Like
Wow.
they're like this is a very old stone carving of what they said the Moonite people were, and they're short, their heads are stubby, their eyes are so big.
It does look very alien-y.
Yeah.
Like the
So
shape and everything.
so it's just interesting of like, is it artistic choice and it was like these Welsh like settlers from like a long time ago, or
Mm-hmm.
is this something completely different and both things coexist? Like, are they the same thing or do they coexist?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. This is so hard to say
Mm-hmm.
because I feel like so much of our history is just left unknown. Like
Very much
to be
agree.
this mystery person,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of our history is a mystery
Yeah.
because it was undocumented. Like
Right.
especially and then in the US, I feel like so much of our history is so whitewashed and you hear like
Absolutely.
growing up you literally hear the same stories
Mm-hmm.
over and over and over and over, but you like get more in depth with some
Mm-hmm.
of them. But then there's
Exactly.
whole parts of chunks of history we just never learn about.
Yeah.
And unless you go like researching on your own or you take some like advanced
Mm-hmm.
history courses past your normal high school, you're not going to learn any of this stuff.
Right.
And some of it's just undocumented, so we're not going to learn it anyway. But it's
Right.
like stuff like this, it's like, well, why did we never learn about any of this?
Yeah, no, exactly. It's like, why have I never heard about like the idea that there may have been like other white people here like before we were
Like
like,
yeah, like
what does that even mean?
pre trash Columbus man.
300 years earlier, they're
Yeah.
saying 300 years earlier from when Columbus quote unquote discovered
And like there could have been
Americas.
plenty of people prior that literally
Yeah.
came to the Americas prior to him. But
Yeah,
we're never
no.
going to hear nothing because he's probably the person that they documented is the
Yeah.
person they documented first.
I don't
So
know.
it's just like,
Yeah,
oh, it's so frustrating. It's
I
like I
know.
want to know because this genuinely is a mystery. This could be people, or it
Hmm.
could straight up be aliens. It could be literally anything, but we wouldn't
Yeah.
know. We're never actually gonna
Well,
find out.
there's proof of like the Welsh thing like happening. Like there's proof that they are like that. Like there were Welsh people like at that like bay. They said like in Alabama, I think they said.
Yeah,
It's just like very intriguing because it's just like again like, are they both the same thing? Are they not? Like there's just so many like questions around this, which is why like I wanted to talk about it because I thought it was
yeah.
just kind of interesting how it's also like this idea that's like so
Mhm.
intact almost. I don't know.
I don't know. I feel like going back to the idea that like it could be some sort of like albino people, but
Hmm.
like from like
Yeah.
further back from a different place.
Yeah.
It could be like shorter,
Yeah, I mean it's
different
possible
variations of
they
human
were just all
being.
short. Like
Yeah,
but like what is short like
to them.
to them also like what if like I don't know, just like throwing like theories out there. Like I don't actually have any validity behind this, but like to the Cherokee people were they like much taller than them, but like were these Welsh people like 5'2" or something, you know, like were they
Yeah,
short people to them? Like not actually like 3 foot tall. But like to
yeah.
them they were like, oh, they are tiny little
It's
things,
also like how
you
many of
know?
them were there? Was it just a family of really short
Exactly.
people?
Hmm.
Like, was it me? Was it a bunch of me,
Was
just
it
real
a bunch of
short?
you? You're the Moon-eyed people. That would make sense. That checks out.
Confirmed. I don't have blue eyes though.
Tiffany's the.
I also, and
What if
I'm
the
not
Moon-eyed
that old.
people are like? What if we're both the ancestors of the Moon-eyed people?
Oh my
We're actually aliens this whole
gosh.
time. I actually my eyes hurt a little bit when I look at the sun.
That's what
Not
I'm
gonna lie,
saying.
because they're so clear.
Well,
It like
that's the
hurts most
only
of the
reason I
time.
was thinking of like albino people because like they can't go in the sun too much as far
Mm-hmm.
as like my understanding and same with the sensitivity of the
Because it
eyes and
hurts. Yeah.
yeah, like that's my only understanding of like maybe there's some sort of tie there, but
Mm-hmm.
it's also hard because the height thing.
Yeah. No.
But
Exactly.
I don't know, it's just so hard to pinpoint because we know nothing about people who existed that far like in the like the past.
Mm-hmm.
Like there could have been different types of people.
Yeah. Exactly.
Sizes, I don't know.
Exactly.
It's
Yeah. I
whack.
totally agree with that.
It's
Yeah.
frustrating because I want to know more,
I
and there's
know.
no way I can unless some sort of huge historical. And also,
Thing
the
happens.
idea that that literally came out in 2015, where was this hiding? It makes you wonder
Yeah.
what other historical things
Why
are we
wasn't it
just
on
being.
display sooner?
What else
Right?
are we being hidden from? Like, what else
Right?
in history is just like, we don't know, but someone else knows it, and they're keeping it from us?
No,
Not to
exactly.
get conspiracy here,
No,
but that's so
exactly.
frustrating that there's so many hidden secrets out there, and we just. They don't want us to know.
They don't want us to know.
That's
Exactly.
a
And it's just
bummer.
well, it goes back again to like the beginning of the episode with like the golem stuff too. It's like I feel like I
Yeah.
had no idea that it was a Jewish folklore thing. Never in my
No.
life. Never
Because
knew.
they just say, "Hey, white people, learn the white stuff." That makes me so mad. That like brings
Yeah.
fury to me, like genuinely, because
Yeah.
there's so many different cultures. They don't
Mhm.
teach you in I don't know
Exactly,
PA
yeah.
school. Like
And that's why I wanted to cover both of these. That's why like even though unfortunately like the Moon-eyed people got the short end of the stick. That was pretty much it also. Like there's not a
yeah,
lot of other information out there except for
mhm,
those things. Like there's a couple little stories here and there, but like it doesn't take or add too
yeah,
much. But that's the reason why I like connected these two because I feel like it is just both like both of these like folklore things are things I've never heard of before, but they're
mhm,
both still like very significant like uh culture things. Like and
mhm,
it's just that it's really interesting that they're not talked about more. Like
yeah,
especially with like them being like pop culture stuff, especially like for people who love like alien stuff. I'm surprised more
yeah,
people don't talk about the Moon-eyed people at all.
yeah. And I just love the name Moon-eyed people. That's so
It's
cool.
a really cute name. That's why I was
Mhm.
like, ooh, that'd
Said
be cute.
Moon-eyed people.
Hmm.
But yes, I loved both of these. I feel like I just love the idea of you bringing two different
Yeah,
cultures into the idea
yeah,
of mystery stuff. I
and
really liked
definitely
it.
more a niche like folklore thing. I was trying to do
Yeah.
also like because who was thinking about doing golems on a mystery
Yeah.
podcast?
Also, if there's any Jewish people out there who have any more information about golems that you might have heard stories from,
Yeah,
like ever throughout your family, or you just know the information, please reach out to us
yeah,
because I'd love to hear more from like something authentic. Like, not that you're not authentic, but like
yeah,
actual people who are Jewish. Like, I'd love to hear your side of it and what like you've grown up hearing, not
yeah,
hearing. What's the tea?
absolutely.
Let us know. Reach out to us either through Instagram, whatever you got. I'm just curious. I want to know more, and then I want to go read Frankenstein. I want the tea.
Hmm.
I want the tea. I'm
I
interested.
I
I'm
love
interested.
how passionate you are about both of them right now. You're just like so ready to know more, and
I don't
it's
know.
so
I
fun.
think that it just hits the history side of me because
Hmm.
I'm not super smart historically, but I want to be.
Mhm.
And this just reminds me of like those crazy documentaries I used to watch growing up that I got so invested in, like
Yeah.
history meets creepy stuff. And
Yeah.
not that either of these are super creepy, but it's just like the weird niche things I love
It
watching.
hits
It's
the nail on
hitting.
the head of all of it, which again is like why I picked them too.
Yeah.
Like it hits like
Thank
that
you.
nice, yeah.
Because I like the historical aspects. I've always loved history, so I'm like, ah, cool.
Mhm.
Thank you.
Of course.
Thank you.
Oh, but
Yes.
I think it has come time, right?
Oh, it's come
I believe
time.
so.
It's come time.
I guess the cases of the Golem and the Moon-Eyed People will forever remain a
A mystery.
mystery. Yeah.
Yeah. Heck yeah.
Thank you guys so much for
Thank
watching. I
you.
know this one was a long one. I
That's
tried something new
okay.
and I
You did
flopped
great. No,
a little
you
bit.
did not flop. This was a fun episode. You
No,
did
yeah.
great. And if anyone out there isn't listening, well, first off, the episode's over, so you should have listened.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
but if you did listen, thank you. If you didn't,
Yeah.
you should have, because it was
Right.
a fun episode. Good job. Good job.
If you would like, please follow us on the Instagram at the Mystery Files _. And you can
Yes.
find all of our social medias, our episodes at linktree.com
Mhm.
/ the Mystery Files.
Mystery Files. Check us out. Be there, be square.
And we will see you for episode 4 of season
Yes.
7, which will be back on Tiffany.
Yes, it will. Can't wait.
All right. Goodbye,
Goodbye.
everybody.
See you later.